I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmasters. Well, it looks like it's just CMC now. So welcome to Mercer.
Friends, family, and fishing freaks, welcome to Mercer, the podcast. That's right, it is Wednesday, April 14th, which is the same day you can always count on this show being here. Put a little hump back in your hump day. So welcome all, welcome humpers, and man, what a week in Orange, Texas, and a bizarre week too. It's not just that an amazing week for bass. Amazing to be back in Orange. Such an awesome community, and you go through so many struggles to make that event happen. So many people go through it, and when it works, it is phenomenal. They set an all-time attendance record. So everything is bigger in Texas, and as always, Orange, Texas delivered. But it was weird. How freaking weird is it? And I'm not judging whether one's right or wrong, but in Orange, Texas, there's no mask mandate. There's nothing. And where I'm from, it's locking back down again. And everywhere in between is something in between. So clearly, somebody's wrong. And I don't know who's wrong. You guys, I'm sure, will let me know in your comments. I don't know what's right or wrong in this situation. I do know this. Here's the truth that I honestly know. There's a lot of arguing and a lot of people that want to give their opinion on this. None of us know. Like, if you're being totally honest, none of us know. We just watch things, read things, and we think we know. But really, if we're being totally honest, none of us really know. And the other thing that I know is it doesn't matter where you live. The moment that they lift the mask mandate, the moment that they lift the gathering mandate, any of these COVID restrictions, the moment that that happens, no matter where you live, you will go out and you will live life just like they are in Texas. So rather than judging, realize that. And let's all get along. I don't know what the answer is. This is a fishing podcast. That is confusing. Yeah, I'm confused about fishing. Never mind this crap. So tell me your opinion. But another weird thing that happened, and showing how weird the world is, in Orange, Texas this past week, one of the big stories happened in the night. Scum came luring on our anglers, and I believe 5 or 6 anglers lost their catalytic converter. That's right. They climbed under the trucks, cut off their catalytic converter, which to me sounded like friggin' Mad Max. When I woke up that next morning, I was like, whoa, is this real? But since then, I have heard from a lot of you that this is rampant. This is something that happens everywhere. So lock up your freaking catalytic converter, or don't be a scum sucker and realize that the world doesn't need you stealing catalytic converters. There's other more honest ways to make a living. And speaking of making a living, let's look at this tournament that happened, because it was freaking awesome. So many highlights. Of course, let's start at the top. Jason Christie, 4 events into his return to the Elite Series. Once again, holding the big blue over his head. And it was awesome. It was just really awesome to see Christie, back. And similar to what I said about Gussie earlier this year, watching someone win doing what they do the best, doing what they do better than almost anyone else, doing what they like to do the most. Jason Christie in dirty water throwing a spinnerbait is awesome. And I get it. Sabine River, they're not giant fish, but there's so many more elements with that tournament, so many hurdles and things that anglers have to come over. And the biggest thing for him was literally just getting to his area and back. He was making an incredibly long run, and there's no gas in between takeoff and where he was going. So he had to have enough gas in his tank to make it there and back. And on day 1, he had no Marshall. He made it back and he had 2 gallons of gas left in his tank. So on day 2, he had a camera guy in his boat and all of their equipment. So he knew, I got to get light, because if I only had 2 gallons left, I need to get light. And basically took everything out of the boat, went out fishing with a Tupperware thing full of tackle. And the real cool thing, in my opinion, was his gassing techniques. I mean, we talk about tournaments and all we talk about is fishing, but there is some thought and planning and work that goes into it. And Christy and Shanna, his girlfriend, that works incredibly hard with them on the road. I mean, it's truly a cool team. And they went to the gas station and they literally, filled it up with gas, paid for the gas, and then left and drove the boat and trailer around the parking lot a few times so the gas would settle, re-topped it up with gas, then drove around the parking lot a few more times, re-topped it up with gas, paid again, and even went to the extent of jacking up one side of the boat and then jacking up the other side of the boat to make sure he could get as much gas in as possible. Well, he made the run, made it back with I think like a half gallon or a gallon of gas. So all those things, that without all that work, it wouldn't have worked. And then, went on to win the tournament. The water rose. It wasn't, as simple as it seemed like it was going to be the first couple days. But a freaking incredible moment. 3 aluminums out of 4 wins this year. 4 Elite Series events have happened, and 3 of them have been won out of an aluminum. 2 of them in an express in a row, if I don't say that. Clay Connors from Yamaha freaking lynched me, I guess. He was there. I mean, proud and good for them. I mean, it's cool to see that. So yeah, that was really cool. And a lot of the Illumivation is hitting the nation. And a lot of that's technology. A lot of that's also, there's never been more aluminums on the Elite Series than there has been this season. So, but good for them. Great. Christy, some cool Christy nuggets proving I call him Clint Eastwood because he is. I mean, he's like that tall, quiet, good looking dude, intimidating, can say a lot without saying very much. But one of the coolest things ever was after he won the tournament, this kid, Jack, who had won the fishing pond derby. They had a fishing pool there where kids were catching catfish and stuff. He won it there. So he wins the trophy and he sees Jason Christie win the Elite and he asked Jason Christie to sign the trophy. That's pretty standard. But here's where Christie proves how cool he is. Jason Christie asked Jack to sign his brand new Elite Series trophy. So a cool moment, but to me, with everything Christie had going on at that point, like when you win an Elite, you're literally ushered off the stage. You sign a bunch of autographs. You got media around you. You got to do those interviews. Then you've got all your family calling, your friends. The anglers wanting pictures with you. Then you got to go out in the water and do photo shoots and interviews. And to have the wherewithal and to be a caring enough person just to turn to this kid Jack that you don't even know. I don't think he knew him at all. I think he was just a kid from the event, and ask him to sign. I mean, that kid, that's going to affect that kid for the rest of his life. That kid's never, ever going to forget that. I mean, and that kind of just shows who Jason Christie is. So kudos to Christie. Awesome. I mean, just when everybody was talking about Greg Hackney, we learn again, in this, and I'm not saying Hackney's out of it, but everybody was giving Hackney, like 2 events in, Greg Hackney's going to win Angler of the Year. Come on. It's 2 events. There is so much. Look how much things can change. 1 event, 2 events. It just like Hackney is steady dropping now, 2 events from now, he could be at the top again. That's how quick things change. It seems in this industry, as soon as people anoint somebody, that's when the fish gods taketh. We giveth, they taketh. But Hackney will be back. But my point was, all the hype was about Hackney, and now a lot of hype about Christie. So great anglers either way. Speaking of great anglers, Brock Mosley, another 2nd place, which if you're 96 other guys in that tournament, you think that's awesome. But to have 2 seconds in a row, kind of heartbreaking. But he'll get his, this is building. That's all you can say. There's very few anglers that come in and don't deal with this. But with 4 seconds, I mean, who in the bass fishing world doesn't want Brock Mosley to win? And he will. I mean, he will. There's no question of that. A great angler, great support, and pretty cool. 2 back-to-back seconds is. I mean, while everybody's going to point and say, "Wow, we celebrate when guys make back-to-back 10 cuts, back-to-back top 5s, back-to-back top 3s," but 2 seconds, all of a sudden, we don't celebrate. We should. I mean, that's phenomenal, and kudos to Brock. Takumi Ito. I mean, what a week he had. That was awesome. I mean, that is, people always wonder what you should do on stage or what I have seen, through different anglers. And I always say the same thing. Be yourself. Be open. Be honest. And Takumi Ito, not trying to be somebody else, but being himself. And with every disadvantage he has, every language barrier, Takumi Ito had that entire crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. Not just on one day, but 2 days. I mean, on day 3, he does my first official giant bass, which blew me away. I mean, shocked me, and I found hilarious. An awesome video that's on Bassmaster's social media and on my social media. Check it out. So just when you think he can't get any better, along comes Championship Sunday. He qualifies for that, puts on an absolute clinic on the water. Watching him fish, he was doing something that nobody else was doing, and far be it, nobody else would do, most likely. The skill, precision, and patience he used fishing those pilings. I mean, I haven't seen anything like that since Aaron Martins, to be honest. I watched Aaron, I think in Muskegon, Michigan, maybe. It was funny because the 2 guys that was covered in the tournament was Aaron and Kevin. And Kevin fished a dock in 45 seconds. And Aaron was fishing a dock on the other side of the lake, and it took him 45 minutes. But it worked for Takumi. Another top 10. This is first of the season. He had 3 last year, and they were all back-to-back. But had the crowd eaten out of his hands again on Championship Sunday with his, first trip to the hot seat and all kind of interactions then. And really, it's not calculated. It's just Takumi being Takumi. Takumi being real, Takumi being honest and not being macho. Most people won't show the kind of excitement about their first trip to the hot seat. They want to act cool. But Taco is Taco. He's an awesome, awesome person. He just, he really beams excitement. I mean, the world needs more Takumi Itos. I'm going to tell you, you spend a little time with him to see him bound down the dock in the morning. He loves every minute. You look at everything he's had to overcome to be here. And let's be real, especially last year with everything going on. I mean, he overcame a lot, probably put up with a lot in certain situations, but man, Takumi Ito is a rock star, and it was awesome. So all in all, an awesome tournament. So many cool moments happened. It was just really cool. Congrats to Orange, Texas. Congrats to Bass. Congrats to Jason Christie. Congrats to our anglers. I mean, this is 4 events in, another great event. The live team did a really cool job. I'm working a lot more with Davey Height. I hope you guys are digging that. I'm really enjoying it. Me and Davey are doing a couple of hours every single day of live, not just the hits that we would do, but we're actually hosting. So it's a lot of fun from the events. You get to, I know I've said it a few times, but it's kind of like one of those moments that, you grow up and you wonder what this guy would do in this situation, that guy would do that situation. And when I'm hosting this stuff, I'm literally watching it, and I'm just like, every once in a while, I'll be like, Davey, what is happening? I mean, I get to turn to my own personal Bassmaster Classic champion and ask him what he would do or what's going through that person's mind. So I really enjoy it. I love it. I mean, it's just a lot of fun, and we're really. I feel like this week it was. Last tournament was great. You know, we had a lot of fun, but this tournament was a lot more free. You know what I mean? We've gotten a lot more into each other's timing, and it's just, I mean, it's a job like anything else. So you just think of your job terms, you know, whatever you do for a living, as you work with other team members, you know, you can be tight with somebody, but it's tightening up the job. And Davey's a consummate professional, such a different, you know, so different than me. I mean, totally different than me, but incredible to work with. And so we had a really good week. And another thing that really stood out this week was another guy who had a giant week. I mean, last week, Caleb Summerall, we had him on the podcast. He did the 4x4x48. Well, he made a top 10. And he trash talked Lee Livesey a little bit, his roommate. But his roommate made a top 10 this week. And watching him fish this week, Lee Livesey was, it was incredible. It was, you know, some of the stuff, you know, and I mean, it was like motocross meets bass boats. And some of the stuff he did in his boat was nuts. So yeah, that was an adventure, you know, like watching him in his element, you know, running down little chutes, with no margin of error, using his outboard to dig holes so he could take off. He would literally go back and forth and back and forth. And everyone's done that. You know, you back up a little bit and then I'm talking about drilling a hole. He would go back and forth with the outboard and then finally get the hole and then he would take off. So that was super, super cool to watch. And that's something I'm excited about this show, because we're going to talk to him. And we're going to do something else that he likes to do and I like to do. It's 2 weeks into the show, and we found a way to drink beer. But before we even do that, we need to deal with an issue from last week. I mean, there was some chatter, some talk, a lot of talk. Ott DeFoe, Bassmaster Classic champion, multiple MLF wins, Elite Series champion. He was on BTL. We had Panger on our show, and we talked about him letting me say his name wrong for 3 freaking years. So rather than me talk about it, we thought we'd just get him right now.
Ott DeFoe, this is the kind of show that when we have a question, we go right to the horse's mouth. Don't take that as an insult, but you are horse in this situation. And last week on our show, Matt Pangarak was on.
Yeah.
And it came up a big story. Obviously, you were on BTL, and the story came out about the DeFoe name.
Yeah.
And we talked about it back and forth, and I think it shows how good a dude you are. But why did it take you 3 years to correct me for saying your name wrong? And how many years will it take for the rest of the industry to figure out the right way to say it?
Yeah, it did, and I appreciate you saying coming to the horse's mouth instead of the other end of the horse. You know, because sometimes we get that too. But yeah, no, it did, and it was one of those things where I'm used to it my whole life. My name is Ott DeFoe. You can't go to Chick-fil-A and they say, "What's the name for your order?" and you tell them Ott or DeFoe. They don't get either one of them right. They look at you and go, "Huh." So I'm used. From the time I was a kid, I was used to people getting my name wrong, you know, and it's like, as a kid, I was always pretty shy, and I was like, you know, that is what it, you know, no big deal. So when I started fishing BFLs and worked my way up, opens, elite, everywhere, people got my name wrong, you know. It was just one of those things, and it was, I may have not told you right away, but it was my dad.
I knew it was somebody.
Yeah, it was Dad, because he is, and I get it. You know, having kids of my own now and stuff. I definitely get, you know, having the pride in your name, and yeah, Dad was the one who's like, he always says your name wrong. I'm like, well, he just doesn't really know, you know. I mean, he is Canadian, so he just he just doesn't know any different. But no, it was Dad, and it was. I think it was at like my second or third classic. I think was where it was.
Yeah, well, and thank God we fixed it up before you won the classic. Or forever you'd be explaining. I mean, your dad would have been really upset then if I had said it wrong.
Absolutely, yeah. Being here at home with as many friends as we had, that would have been a bad deal.
So I don't know that I can extend the D any longer than I have, but it still seems like you get DeFoe a lot, and people like that deal with Jeffries the other day at the start of it. He said, hey, our guest for today is Ott DeFoe, and I mean, like he said it perfect. And I was actually going to comment then, but we got to the end of the show and didn't mention or anything. But then at the end, he's like, man, it was great having you on here today, Ott DeFoe. Man, I'm like, you said my name twice in this deal, once right, once wrong. I was like, it's like, oh man, I knew. But it does. People they slip with it. I mean, whether they mean to or not, it's so common for people just to say it wrong, whether they know better or not. But I don't know that the rest of the world will ever get it right. I truly don't. Well, maybe if you accomplish more in life. I mean, maybe if you finally start to catch them and win a tournament or two, they'll get it right, you think?
You would think, I mean, if they had to say your name, once or twice in a year, maybe they'd get it right. If they said it like 20 times, maybe it'd get closer. And I guess, I don't ever go back and watch live, so I don't know just how many times they get it wrong. It could be every time. It could be never. I mean,
50-50.
Jen says about 50-50. So apparently I need to go back and
they say
and
right
watch
and
it.
they say wrong.
Yeah, and Jen said they say it right and wrong. Both all in the same deal. So I think it's a losing battle, but I guess we keep fighting it.
It's things have worked out pretty good, and that is I have a couple questions for you unrelated to your name, but.
Okay.
Dude, I love your family. I love the story. I love the fact that, when I first met you, I mean, you had one kid. It was just like just watching your family grow.
Yeah.
But when I look at everything you've accomplished, did the dream work out? Did this dream work out as good as you imagine? Because you're just a geek like me that grew up there was no other option. It was this or be miserable doing whatever else you do the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Is it as good as you dreamt?
It's better than it truly is. It really is. And man, it is. It's funny to look back at 2011 at the rookie year. Your kind of your rookie season too. I guess.
Yeah.
And, to look at that and yeah, what has happened since then. And I mean, God's just blessed our family unbelievably, and I couldn't. It is. It's been way more than what I ever could have imagined. I mean, in the last 25 months, I've had 4 pretty big wins, starting with the Classic, the 2 of our Bass Pro Tours and a Cup.
Yeah.
And, I mean, even a couple, 3 years before the Classic, the Elite Series win up there in Wisconsin. So, I mean, in the last 25 months have been just unbelievable. But, really the last 4 or 5 years have been crazy.
One of my favorite parts of any interview, whether it's this one or any interview you do, is just the little heads that pop through the back. I mean, it's like, where's Waldo of DeFoe's?
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, there's Waldo with his cast and everything.
What'd you do to your arm?
I broke it.
Yeah.
He's good. He's about to put it in the fan by the looks of it.
Yeah, it looked like it.
What?
Yeah.
It's awesome to see how things are going for you, and hopefully in time people will start to say it right. But I mean, of all those victories, I do know one tournament that it was said properly.
I absolutely do too. Yeah, no, there was one that it was the D was stretched as long as it could be held. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Well, I miss saying your name, and I got one more question for you that I've always kind of wondered, because it kind of went through my mind. Like when you're in that moment on the stage and you win the Classic, and I mean, it's everything you've dreamed of, but and I'm so lucky to be so close to guys when they have that moment. But there's little things like there's real life that flies through your head when you're up there. It's not just. Yeah. And I will be honest, when I lowered the mic, when you give a kid a mic in front of a room full of thousands of people like that, you never know what's going to come out. Your daughter not only hit a home run, but hit a grand slam and had the entire arena crying. It was one of the most amazing moments. But was there a split second as a parent that you were like, oh boy, what's she going to say?
Absolutely, because of the one that you put the mic in front of. More than anything. I mean, that's of the three kids, Parker would have he wouldn't have said much. Abby would have blabbed something like about me being, I'm a good dad and that kind of stuff. But with Lizzie, you might get, my dad's a poop. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with her. So yeah, it really made me nervous when you put the mic in front of her. But and it's funny because we've went back and watched that again. She didn't answer your question. But
none of you guys ever do. She's no different than her dad. She's watched enough weigh-ins and enough of that happen that she knows not to answer the question. Just say whatever you want to say. Well, what she said worked, and dude, since day number one, from the first time I met you, you're one of those people that outside of fishing, you brighten up. I mean, this sounds cheesy, but you really are one of those rays that brighten up a room, and your whole family's the exact same. And
I appreciate that.
And hopefully we get the name right. Moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, it has been Ott DeFoe.
That's it. Thank you, Dave. And yeah, I really do. I appreciate you saying that. And that's our goal in life. That's, to be positive people and to try to leave a good impact. That's as much as I think we can do as humans on this earth. So yeah, we trust in the Lord and try to make a positive impact in people. That's all we can do.
A guy good enough that you don't even have to say his name right, and he'll let you away with it. But thanks very much, Ott, and all the DeFoes.
Thanks, Dave.
So, Bass Fishing World, let's help him get his name back. Ott DeFoe. I mean, you don't have to stretch it out. It could just be Ott DeFoe. It's just not Ott DeFoe. Now for something completely different. From Tennessee, we travel to East Texas, Lake Fork, and Elite Series champion Lee Livesey, which ironically is another guy. I'm starting to realize anglers are freaking picky about their names. I mean, it's DeFoe, and Lee did correct me once. He said it's not Livesey, it's Livesey. So, here he is.
All right, let's jump right into this. This is a brand new segment. We're going all the way to East Texas with Lee Livesey, and this is going to be drinking beers and talking about driving bass boats with Lee Livesey. So, you've already started the first part. So, I do have this is imported, the right brand, correct? The right brand?
Correct.
Imported, actually not imported, smuggled. It was left in my live well after a fishing trip. And, evidently I came home. So cheers. We're doing the beer. Oh, wow. Let's try that. Well, look at, that's there. Look at us.
That wasn't bad.
That wasn't bad, but this is very good. So we're drinking beers. And dude, one of the things that it was bizarre from this weekend was bizarre. But you were one of the most bizarre things, and it was awesome to watch, though. Well, what did you do with your boat this past week?
A lot of stuff that I shouldn't have done. That's why I have it at Ships Marine right now getting serviced. But we didn't tear anything up. Too bad. Like, we really didn't. We melted a couple of wiring harnesses and sensors in practice, but a Mercury tech at the event fixed all that, and we got in and out of everywhere else we went. We just got stuck one time. It wasn't that bad.
Watching it, everybody had to go through a lot of crap, obviously. But some of the stuff you did, I mean, everybody's done that they back up their boat and cause a little bit of a ditch. But, dude, you literally burrowed a freaking hole with your outboard. Explain what you were doing, because I was watching it and Davey's like, he's digging a hole, and I'm like, and as I watched you, I'm like, you were literally freaking drilling.
Yeah, that's the only way I could get in and out of there. You know, it was a pretty crazy little spot. You know, I've been in there alligator hunting, but I've never been in there bass fishing. But I know they live in there, you know, so it's usually better than it was. But just, I went in there and practiced, and I had one bite, but it was a big one, and I didn't get out. I tried and tried and tried and tried, and I got my motor to 380 degrees and had to get towed out with an airboat. And then,
so you did get towed in practice?
Yeah, I had to get towed out by T-Roy. He towed me out, and that was a whole nother experience right there, getting towed out with an airboat on plane in a bass boat. But so,
by T-Roy too. I mean, a totally sane person to pick you up.
Yeah, he might have had a cocktail or two, but so I go to the service yard in the morning, and Mercury hooked it up, fixed all my harnesses, everything but one sensor. I had to get a sensor brought in from East Texas from Lufkin, and he fixed it all. And I said, well, guess where I'm about to go. And he was like, you're not going back in there. And I drove straight back in there, and I drove all the way in the second time in practice. I shook off like 3 bites where you see me catch a good one on day 2. I think I caught one in there. And then I trolled out like 45 minutes with my trolling motor on my little, you know, it was so shallow I couldn't even put my trolling motor down. I had a cushion underneath there, and I trolled out. It took me forever. And I found a spot out there that was just like that much deeper. And I jumped up on plane twice. I tried it twice. And I was like, okay, you know, I can go in there and fish out an hour and then jump out. Well, I you know, it's just too much wasted time, you know? So I drove back in there, and I found that little hole, you know? I mean, it was literally like that much deeper, you know? I know y'all didn't see me on live, but I kept turning around. I was watching my Minn Kota Raptors go down, and I just watch them, and they go down like, boop, just not even down every time. And on that little point that I jumped up on, they went down where they almost, you know, almost went 50% in, and that's counting the mud they're going in. And I said, well, it's about 6 inches deeper right there, you know, and that's where we dug our hole and got out. Thankfully, we had Jake Latendris, and he weighs about 50 pounds, and we got out.
Talk to me about Jake, because one of the things that I think is freaking cool that nobody sees, you know, really nobody ever sees it. Nobody even feels it, or maybe even doesn't even know it until you've been through it. But like, certain anglers have bonds with camera guys. Like, you know what I mean? And when you look at what you experience together, the highs and the lows, you can't help. But is that real, or is that just something I'm making up?
No, it's the real deal. And he's not biased.
No.
Jake likes to win. He's just like us. You know, he asks for the lures he wins on, or, you know, his anglers win on, and he has a little trophy room of baits and memorabilia that he's had over the years, and he's just one of those adrenaline junkies. I mean, he's worse than me. I mean, he's a freaking superstar. He's on a plane here, filming a moose hunt here, or whatever, here, fishing here, and, you know, runs a bar. I don't even know what else he does. He has like 400,000 acres in South Dakota he hunts on. He's just crazy, but we definitely have the connection, and we know each other. And when I say I'm going to do something stupid, he says, yo, I'm going to be right beside you. Let's go. You know? So he kind of knew it was coming. He didn't realize what I was going to do on the third day that nobody really saw on live because it was over. But I took him through the jungle on the third day.
That's the video you posted on Instagram, isn't it?
That's the last 15 seconds of the 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I didn't want to show the rest because it was a little sketchy.
Would you let me show it on here on our? And nobody watches this shitty podcast. Would you let me show it on here?
I don't know. I think we might have ran over a dead cow, and it's just kind of some of it's kind of crazy.
Okay, well, you just keep drinking. I'll ask you that question again later.
Yeah, Jake is awesome. We have that connection, and you know, it's not just me and Jake. There's other. His guy, and I have my guy, and everybody kind of has their cameraman and their guy. So it's pretty cool little clique.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you guys see it, but you assume they want to win. But I mean, I see both sides of it. Dude, the first thing they do is run back to the trailer, like after the tournament's over, and the only way to make the honor bigger for them is for them to be with you from the first day. You know what I mean? That's really, and it's really odd, to be honest, because generally, but it's cool. But I also think that's what makes that product so cool, because those guys aren't just camera guys, they're freaking producers. You know what I mean? Like
they see everything like I do too. I'll sit on that front deck and I'll see a fish swirl. I literally one in the Sabine swirled like 100 yards ahead of me, but twice, like, whoop. And I didn't say a word. I didn't even think Jake could even possibly see it looking through the camera lens. But about the time I got up there, I paid attention to what piece of grass it was by, and I threw my frog over there and ate it, and I missed it. And the first thing Jake said was, "Damn, that one done swirled twice up there." And I said, "Oh my gosh, you can see that?" And he was like, "Yeah." So they pay attention and they know what's going on. Jake's always, I can hear Jake breathing. I can when I'm nervous, I can tell he's nervous. He knows when something's about to go down and happen. It's
cool. The moment you guys shared after. I have a picture of it that I still have to send to Jake. I'm sure he's got a bunch. But after Chick, when you won, which me and you had a cool moment backstage there too that nobody got to see, which was you shitting your pants because you literally did not think you won. And I remember saying to you, like, enjoy this freaking feeling because this is why you do it, And but which at the time you were probably like, "Shut up, idiot! You don't know what it's like." But
I was trying to talk myself out of it, and I was trying to talk you into talking me into it.
One of the things you said to me after this tournament that I thought was really cool, and I actually wrote it down. It was your text, and you said, "I've had to lay up every tournament this year. It felt good to go balls to the wall and finally try to win." I think that's one of the things that casual fans have no idea. There's a real management, isn't there, between? Oh, yeah. So what makes that? Why was Sabine one like that?
It just worked out. It's just how it works out. That first day I got in an area where I didn't think I was going to catch them that good. And I caught pretty much my whole bag out of one canal, and that loosened me up and it let me know, okay, there's better fish in these areas than you thought. I didn't have to go burn anything else down. And, I went and caught a good one that day by the takeoff when I came back too. And that, okay, I can catch a keeper or even a 2-pounder here at takeoff, and I just kept growing, my game plan. And I had, tons of spots. I thought I could catch 7-8 pounds, in every system, Sabine, Natchez, Cal, Adams, Taylor's, I was confident, and the confidence is everything on taking a shot, and I was watching that Trinity, and I didn't win. I didn't catch anything hardly that last day, but I have a lot of history in the Trinity.
Yeah, but you really did friggin' swing for the fence. Like, I know that's something people say on the final, and a lot of times that's like, I didn't catch him, so it's cooler to say I swung for the fences than I sucked today. But what you did, it was totally swinging for the fences.
Right, and it was a calculated deal, and it was there from the start in practice. I said, if that water drops, because it got up to 6 foot high over there in practice, and they were letting out 11,000 at Livingston, which is a lot, all their gates, and it dropped every day, a little bit, and I said, man, if I can make it to that final day, it might be perfect. I might go over there and blast 18 to 22 pounds and just blow this thing out. And I mean, here I am on the third day and I don't have anything at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And I'd saved one area where the video you saw me running through was.
It's awesome.
I'd saved one area that I'd had the most. It's like this every time. My best spots, I never go to my best spots. I'm stupid. My buddy Jimmy, if he's going to watch this and go, you do it all the time. You tell me about all these spots you never go to. Well, I'd save this spot and saved it because I thought I might need it the final day if I didn't get to go to the Trinity, if the wind blew or something. And then it got to the point where I said, I'm about to drop out of the top 10. Right now I need to go. I need to give it an hour. I need an hour in there. I'm going to catch 2 decent ones. And I went over there and fished. And I caught a good one that helped and a couple of little keepers. I knew I was close. Yeah, I was probably like 10th or 11th or 12th I had 4 minutes left in my fit. I didn't catch them where I was in practice. I had like 15 bites, nothing. I turned to Jake and I said, I got 4 minutes left. Go ahead and get your stuff packed because I've never ran out of here, and I'm gonna jump up on plane by that dead cow and get out of here.
So it really was a dead cow.
We really had to jump a dead cow. And there were 4 dead cows back there. I don't know what was going on. I told the rancher he wasn't sure. I think he was shooting them. I'm not sure. He was shooting something up there.
So all week when we're doing commentary, I'm saying bullshit like they have obstacles they have to get. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's our job to almost talk about it somewhat educated, but I'm talking about it in other sports terms. I'm like, it's not just about scoring the goals. They have to make it over these obstacles. But at no time did I think an angler was out there jumping freaking dead cows.
Had to jump a dead Hereford cow, old red face, white face. But anyways, I had 4 minutes. I told Jake, hey, put your stuff up. This is going to be sketchy getting out of here. I'm going to run through those woods. So he literally put his camera down, zipped his bag up, and I threw my frog over there with like 2 minutes left, and a good one ate it. But like, of course, you know, as far out there as I could throw it through 157,000 lily pads, and hooked them and got them in the boat. It was a 2-something. I said, okay. Looked at the clock, got a minute. Rigged my bait back up, threw to the other side of the canal. As soon as it hit the water, caught another good one, cold out. Said, let's go. Turn around, ran back 109 miles and made it back and made it in the top 10. And that's when I was like, I'm not even going back in there. That worked out too good. We're going to load up Jake. We're going to the Trinity. No questions asked. Nobody can talk me out of it right there. So that's how it went down, and we rolled from there.
In retrospect, you would do it all over, like the day 4 decision, you'd do that again?
Oh, no doubt. I couldn't have won anywhere else. I could not.
Yeah.
You could get lucky at takeoff and catch 5 4.5 pounders. But, Taku caught a 410. Caleb caught a 4 something there at takeoff. I'm sure somebody else did too. I just don't know about it. But the odds, I knew that nobody had been there since practice. Our guys. I didn't know there was a tournament. I didn't know there was a tournament the next week, and I get over there. There's like 50 bass boats practicing.
Come on.
Tournament. Yes. I've never seen a bass boat over there. I get there, and there's like bass boats everywhere in the parking lot. I was like, oh, my gosh, Jake, I bet. And I talked to the first guy, and he's like, yeah, there's a big tournament out of here next week. The only one they have all year. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. They probably hammered on them pretty good Saturday. It just wasn't right, though. I've been over there before where you have 100 bites, and, I caught a 3-something and some little dinks, I literally left there and I said, Jake, we're going to have 15 minutes when we get back. I drove past takeoff. It was 2:45 exactly. We both looked at each other. I was kind of like, okay, that was kind of crazy to run 125 miles and time it exactly to the minute. And I pulled over there with freaking 5 minutes left and caught a keeper that gave me another AOI point, another $1,000, and moved me up to 9th. So it worked out, but it didn't work out.
It was awesome to watch. Speaking of awesome, you already mentioned him, and I think you already answered this question as we started our little freaking chat. Are you the devil on Caleb Summerall's shoulder? Because you can't answer it any other way than yes when you start the interview with, I texted Caleb and said, I'm about to drink a dozen beers on Mercer's podcast, and say I'm not the devil on his shoulder.
No, he's pretty bad to me, too. Like, I help him out a lot. I feel like I'm his life counselor, besides the running part. That's all him.
Fitness is him, but everything outside of that you keep together?
Yeah, I keep him pretty solid, I think. His mom was part of that.
What's his mom? What'd you say?
Yeah. His whole family's like, Lee, you just hold Caleb together so good. We're glad you're in his life. Every day they text me.
It doesn't look like that from the outside, to be honest. But I think that that's kind of the magic of Caleb, but that's part of what I love about him. How did you guys get together? You know what I mean? Like,
we were, me and Brad Watley traveled the first 2 years, and Caleb, where were we at? We started the year. Caleb we started at a 10 killer, like one of the last events. And then Brad didn't make AOI championship, so me and Caleb stayed together at the AOI championship at St. Clair that year, my first year. And then we added on Caleb last year at St. John's, and we all 3 traveled together. And then in New York at the St. Lawrence River, Frank needed somebody to stay with. When we left there, went to Champlain.
Yeah.
And Brad and Frank had stayed together before. And, you know, me and Caleb click and Brad and Frank click. We're just personalities. And when we left and went to Champlain, I said, we're going to have to get 2 rooms there because we have a hotel. You know, we can't rent a house there.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you just want to stay with Frank, Brad? And I'll stay with Caleb. I mean, that's just our personalities, you know. Me and Caleb like to get out and drink beers and talk shit and do a lot of childish stuff sometimes. And we're all business too. Don't get me wrong, but you know, Brad and Frank are more business and super cool. Both of them from Texas, good friends still. And they said, yeah, that'll work. And we switched partners.
That works.
You know, that's how it went down. Frank and Brad started staying together. Me and Caleb started staying together.
Speaking of how things went down, there's always been this underwelling of a story that you guys once had a bit of a battle. Is this true, or is you used to have a thing on your what happened? Let's just get it out there.
Oh, this is a pretty good story, actually.
Well, that's why I'm asking it.
We were at Gunnersville and we were sucking. We hadn't cut a check in about 3 decades at this point in time last year. And there was a checker. We were staying at the cabins at Waterfront. There was a checker game, like they just have a checkerboard game in the room, you know, on the table. Yeah. He was like, you want to play checkers, you know? Being all cocky. And I was like, dude, I was a 5th grade checker champion. I don't know if you want any of this for real. And, you know, he thought I was playing. I was like, no, for real. My mom probably still has a ribbon at the house, 5th grade checker champion. So I beat him like 44 times at checker in a row at checkers.
Are you being like you really were a checker?
This is how it went down.
Is that a competitive sport in Texas? Checkers?
Yeah. It was going down in 5th grade. I still have the ribbon, dude. So this is true story, everything. So I beat him literally like 10, 15 games. I don't even know how many. He was getting pissed. Like he really was getting pissed. It was messing with his mind, so he was playing really stupid.
It's demoralizing.
It was bad. He was getting so pissed, and I was loving it. So the last time I beat him, I'm baiting him into everything. The last time I beat him, I'd like baited him hardcore where he like got to jump 2 of my guys and he had 2 left or something. I like triple jumped him and crowned my guy. He literally flipped the coffee table over, threw stuff everywhere, like destroyed the room. And I was just laughing on the couch, you know, to his right. And he like stormed off and I was just laughing my ass off. Couldn't stop. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. Well, he came out of nowhere and just speared me from the side and speared me over the couch. And there was a big marble coffee table over there that had a big marble lamp edge on it. And that's what got me, was a lamp edge. It was actually just from a checker game.
Checkers can be full contact, I guess. I mean, but I think it's more freaking demoralizing. Like if it was chess or something, checkers, I think jacks with you because you're like, you oversimplify it. You know what I mean? It's like losing at tic-tac-toe repetitively. You're like, sooner or later, I got to figure him out. How can he continuously beat me?
I swear he went home and practiced and beat his kid, like beat his little boy probably, like a bunch of times.
That's totally not true, but
no, like I really do. I think he went home and played it like.
Oh, but I thought you meant like beat him.
Oh no,
checkers. Okay.
So he can still get at himself. I mean, he might have kicked his dog or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Dude, you're awesome. I love this. It's funny. You're one of the dudes that I always find myself like when we're in a fog delay or whatever. You're one of the dudes that I always, and it's not like I go, oh, let's look for Lee but it's one of those things like we seem to end up in a lot of circles telling stupid stories like this in that situation. So I'm going to end this with just a few quick questions. You used to play football, right?
Right.
College or something. What did you play? What position?
Free safety.
Okay. If you'd put 5 or give me 5 Elite Series guys that you would draft for your freaking football team if you had to today. But quickly, give them to me and why.
Chris Johnston, straight up. I've seen him beat myself up and Corey up.
Good athlete.
Like Corey. Caleb. just the endurance, strength. Big Frank, need a big body.
Yeah.
And I'm going with John Cruz. He just looks like he might be able to throw a football, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He'll look good doing it if not.
Yeah, great for the pictures anyways. Like he totally could get.
No doubt. Who else do we need? We need
his son's a QB, I believe. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's his nephew.
Oh, is it nephew? Okay.
I think that's his nephew. One more. I need another big guy. Give me Harvey Horn. Harvey Horn's probably a bulldog.
Oh yeah. Did you see what happened to Harvey Horn this weekend, dude? Did you? You hadn't heard about it because you were the first flight. It was one of the coolest things ever.
He didn't fall in. He fell in last year somewhere.
Well, no, but this was similar. So it's day 3 takeoff, and Harvey's all jacked to be there on Saturday. He's the first boat out of the second flight. So that's why you didn't see it. You were already gone. So he's boat 25 and he's the first boat out, and dude, he's tied up. And in Orange, I mean, there's a bunch of people and, you know, it's a cool vibe. And especially, I think, because we haven't had that vibe for a long time. You know what I mean? So it means more to all of us, right? Like, so he's sitting there, dude, and he's getting jacked. And his wife, who's so awesome, and she's giving him like the perfect wife pep talk. Baby, you're here because you deserve to be here. And, you know, you go get him today. And she's freaking winding him up, being a great wife. And I'm there on the microphone doing my bull crap. And I'm like, 30 seconds. It's almost time. And it's getting closer and closer. And then I go 5, 4, 3, 2. And dude, Harvey Horn, there's no idle. He freaking drops the hammer right from the dock and boom.
He had him too pumped up.
He takes off, and because we were looking at it from above, I mean, it looks even more. And I look at Russ, and I'm like, who's one of the tournament department guys, and I'm like, was that just real? Did that really happen? And she turns to me, and she's like, great. He finally makes a Saturday, and he probably just got his ass DQ'd. But the kicker is, he didn't freaking know he did it until weigh-in. Like, I thought at some point he's got to be,
didn't even realize it.
No, you think he'd be a few hundred. Yeah, just jacked. So, very cool. Very cool.
Didn't somebody's cameraman fall in?
Yeah. Takumi,
the new guy, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. And it was Davey Height's fault.
I just heard Jake start laughing. Jake was laughing. I was like, what are you laughing at? He's like, cameraman just fell in.
Well, Takumi left his window down in his truck. So me and Davey, we're on shore doing live segments, and we notice that the window's down. So Davey calls, so we get in touch with Sego, and Davey calls Sego and says, hey, how do we get in touch with, because Sego is the purveyor, the pimp to all the Japanese anglers, basically. I don't know. I was looking for a better word, but so Sego is your pipeline. But weirdly, Takumi speaks better English than Sego, who lives in California. But so we get. You're right. Long story short, Davey goes to bring his keys, to get his keys from him. So Brian, I guess, is handing Davey the keys, and somehow while he's handing him the keys, freaking loses it and falls in the water right in front of Davey. And but he got back in the boat, and Davey saved Takumi's giant swim baits that he had sitting on his dash, and it was all good.
A little bit of everything. KJ forgot to put gas in his boat.
That was messed up. Oh, totally, dude. I mean,
did you see me tripping? Like, I was like, there's supposed to be 2 boats behind me, and there was just one, and nobody would answer me. I guess nobody knew. And I was like, am I in the wrong spot in line? And nobody would answer me. And finally I was like, I'm cutting whoever's supposed to be here, because I could just see Drew behind me. I couldn't remember KJ. So I thought I was cutting somebody, or somebody cut me. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh, well, because when it happened, it was, I announced it on the mic, but you might not have heard it. But dude, it was like a few minutes before takeoff. Like, he was one of the first, when I got there in the morning, the first boat I saw in the water was KJ Queen sitting there.
That's what I heard. He was the first one.
Yeah. And I bet she sat there the whole time thinking, I was forgetting something. What the hell? And then when we were like a few minutes till takeoff, he went to start it and shit. So the best part is, dude, he books out of there. You know, you could imagine. I mean, I felt bad for him because
I could see it happening so quick. Everybody was hating on him, and I was like, dude, I could have done that a million times. Just tired, go home, forget to stop at the gas station. Then in the morning, people are talking to you, especially your first.
Yeah. This first top 10 and with the crowd and all the hype. And yeah, he said he got off stage and there was so much going on and people and everything. And then he got in his truck and he was answering texts and everything. He went to bed and, didn't.
I could see it happening so easy.
Yeah.
Any tournament. I think Brock forgot to bring his rods one tournament. He literally got up, drove somewhere and opened up his rod box and all his rods were out. He left them in his hotel room. Like, for real. That happened to Brock. It's like a Brock or
Harvey Horn did that once too. I know he did it once.
Yeah, maybe. I know somebody did
that. That's awesome. No, and the best was when he took off. He flies out of there, that van he drives, KJ. So van's just burning out there. He takes off to go get gas. He comes back, he backs his boat in, and he's like, I got no life jacket or no kill switch. Because I guess he took that off and set it on the back deck. And so they got him a life jacket and a kill switch. And I tried to give the, me, dude, it's 90% just bull crap. But every once in a while, I'll try to help somebody. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, you need to calm down. You need to breathe. Not rushing right now is just going to get you hurt. You need to. And he's like, okay, boom, and just kept rushing.
Yeah, I just would have freaked him out a little bit. Yeah. No, but these things happen. But one thing that does happen every single time me and you have a beer, good conversations. I think this needs to be a regular feature. Every once in a while, we need to have. Well, we're bad at this. Yeah, I don't know where it goes. How about the Whiskey Myers song? The lyrics between the Natchez and the Trinity.
So awesome.
The whole time. I mean, that couldn't be any cool. And the song's called Home too.
Yeah. What is your deal with them, dude? I know you said you grew up with those guys, didn't you? Or not all of them, but some of them.
Just kind of, it was more the college years when they were starting. My buddy David Reynolds owns a bar in McKinney called Hank's, and that's where they were starting in a van, kind of like KJ Queen's, an old white van with no windows, but 8 deep with all their equipment, and rolling around for, probably $800 a night. And now they're doing, Rolling Stones and all over the world, they're huge now, but just meeting them there and fishing. And it was kind of one of those deals. Hey man, if you ever make it big, I'll be there for you. Hey, if I ever make it big, I'll be there for you. And he always said that they'd sponsor me if they got big and if I made it. So when I made it, he made the call and we hooked it up. They're cool. I mean, when I won Chickamauga, they were all on their tour bus going somewhere. I can't remember where. And said they all cried like a baby, the whole band, bus driver, everybody. So they watch every second. Don't get it wrong. They're not just musicians. They fish hardcore too, or a lot of them do.
That's really cool. That's they came to the Classic, right? You said they were at the Classic every day.
They're from Palestine. That's the Natchez River that flows right through there. That's between the Natchez and the Trinity. That's where they're from, but further up, a couple hours. So, they fish and hunt and all that stuff. They're cool. Super cool dudes. And they got a new album coming out. And the road manager actually came to the weigh-in on day one. I think Chris was there. Maybe day two. When they crawfish with him, and he might have let me listen to that much of one song, maybe.
I bet it's pretty badass.
Pretty good album coming.
All right.
Nobody did that though. Don't want to get nobody in trouble.
All right. No, nothing coming. But we will do. I mean, at some point we got to do this we don't have to get in their tour bus, but we'll just hang out in front of it somewhere. How's that sound?
Yeah, we can pick the lock or something. I'm sure we can get into it.
One thing guaranteed, always get into a good time. Lee Livesey, thank you, brother.
Thanks, man. See you soon.
Friends, family, fishing freaks, and humpers. I want to thank you for watching this week. I mean, we have drank beer. We went to the horse's mouth. We recapped an event. We broke down a bunch of situations. And I'm tired. I mean, that's all I got for you. I am one man now. There's only so much I can do, but I need your help to do it. First of all, thank you all. The incredible support that this venture has gotten has blown me away. You guys are awesome. You guys love the positivity. You guys love just thank you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for enjoying this. And thank you for making a place in your life with this. But I need your help to continue to make it grow. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dave Mercer or Facts Efficient. Search it up. You'll get it through there. The original plan was that the LDMC subs would be transferred. Does not look like that's going to happen. So we went right ahead and got it on every single streaming platform. We as in my wife. So thanks, honey. Not just a not too many beers. Not just a trophy wife, but a badass at getting this crappy little show up on all the streaming platforms. So search Mercer there. Give it likes, give it reviews, give it stars, happiness, spirit fingers, whatever it takes. Please help us support and blow this into something really, really cool. Because it's not going to be one thing. If you're expecting to tune in and be like, oh, this is what you can expect on that show. I mean, some weeks we'll have 5 guests. Some weeks we'll have 2 guests and a big long review. Some weeks we'll have 10 guests. Some weeks we'll have no guests. The only thing I can guarantee you is week after week, we'll be here every single Wednesday, putting the hump back in your hump day. That's right. Mercer, every single Wednesday, putting the hump in your hump day. And I want to thank you. Thank you for watching this. And I mean, the best part about this is, let's be honest, you can't even see it. I get to do it in my pajamas. Mercer, out.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?